Looks like the chuds, the toxic males, were right again. Nobody wanted this show, and it has completely failed. In spite of a massive astroturfing operation by the mainstream media, the black female Iron Man has completely flopped. It has not just received poor reviews, but nobody is watching it. The show itself was completely absent from viewership charts. It is one of the worst launches, perhaps the worst launch in Marvel history. And of course, they will blame toxic white males. Now, if there were so many black female girls that really wanted to watch this show, how come they're not watching it? Ironheart ratings in the gutter, completely absent from the Illuminati or Illuminate, viewership charts. We got our first indication of whether or not Ironheart is a success. It appears to be another bomb from Kevin Feige. It's learned the show is completely absent from the Illuminate's viewership charts for the week of the first three episodes being released. Illuminate Film and TV streaming viewership is owned by Eldridge Industries and Penske Media Corporation. Together, they are behind major media brands like Billboard, Variety, The Hollywood Reporter, Rolling Stone, and Dick Clark Productions. Eldridge also owns stake in the Los Angeles Dodgers, A24, Vivid Seats, with broader investments spanning media, finance, tech, and real estate. So we see streaming originals on TV. Number one, The Waterfront. Never even heard of it. Number two, Love Island. Garbage TV. Number three, Ginny and Georgia. Never heard of it. America's Sweetheart, Dallas Cowboys Cheerleader. That's number four. Pretty sad. We Were Liars. Department Q, The Better Sister, Fubar Stick, and Mobland. The only show I think worth watching on here is Mobland. Illuminate released its numbers for the week of the first three episodes of Ironheart were available. At the bottom of the rankings is Mobland, with an estimated 260.8 million minutes watched. That means all three episodes of Ironheart came in below that number. That also puts an average per episode at 86.9 million minutes. That is not great. With all three episodes not appearing on the Illuminate charts is obviously not a good sign. It's probably why Disney decided to dump all the episodes in a week. As the final three episodes get released Tuesday, they knew it was a stinker going on. Worth a mention is Robert Downey Jr.'s shield for the show, which did nothing to bolster viewership. Marvel better be careful as they need to justify dishing out $100 million for Robert Downey Jr. for Avengers Doomsday. Ironheart is also currently the second worst rated in the MCU series on Disney Plus by the fans with a 56% audience score. Secret Invasion is currently the lowest at 53. I don't think it'll ever get that low. Secret Invasion was just very, very terrible. Ironheart is also currently the second worst rated MCU series on Disney Plus by the fans. I read that. Ironheart, another misfire from Kevin Feige, is a part of his approach to this post-Endgame MCU, which has been a complete failure. Recent bombs on the big screen include Captain America, Brave New World, and Thunderbolts. On the TV side of things, Daredevil Born Again also failed to chart on Nielsen, the first time ever for an MCU show. Agatha's ratings were much better. Following Fantastic Four getting released this summer, Marvel Studios doesn't have a new movie coming out until December of next year with Avengers Doomsday. And I think even fewer people are going to care about Marvel then. I think even fewer people will show up I think if we wait another year and a half before there's anything to talk about from Marvel, it's wild. Likewise, while Daredevil Born Again is getting a season 2, as evident by the first season, its budget has been slashed considerably when compared to previous shows like She-Hulk, Secret Invasion, and even Ironheart, which was filmed years ago when Disney was dropping billions on streaming content, while the content has proven it's not good and the fans have stopped watching. To be frank, what really sucks is as a result of Disney spending billions on Marvel shows that no one asked for or wanted, now everything has to suffer. Imagine if Daredevil Born Again had a $200 million budget. One of my favorite characters, Nova, has already reportedly had his series canceled because it would cost too much. Feige should have went with Nova following Infinity War instead of Captain Marvel and continued post-Endgame adapting Annihilation. I mean, here's the thing. Shout out to Cosmic Book News. I know they hate me because I often make fun of them, but this is a good article. And I do agree. Like, I wish that we would get good Marvel content. Think about this. If Marvel didn't lose its rear end on She-Hulk, Agatha, WandaVision, which ended up being kind of a disaster, Hawkeye, if they had put out good shows, we'd probably get more good Marvel content. But the fact of the matter is, they're just not. I mean, Ironheart is a show that nobody wanted. And the critics called everybody racist and bigoted for not wanting to watch it. Well, where are all the black women of color watching it? They're not watching it either. This whole narrative of like, watch this or you're a bad person is over. Ironheart reactions are brutal. Rotten Tomatoes audience score plummets as trailers rack up massive dislike ratios and critic scores soar. This is on June 30th, just yesterday. A flurry of early headlines accusing critics of review brigading Ironheart has now entered an entirely different phase of audience reaction. The early Rotten Tomatoes audience score has continued to plummet, landing at just 56% as of this writing, well below the fresh threshold, meaning the critic score has actually increased, further widening the gap between legacy media narrative and how viewers really feel. The 3-episode premiere dropped June 24th. It didn't take long before the commentary across YouTube, Rotten Tomatoes, critic-less IMDb, and other review platforms turned sharply negative. Despite this, legacy outlets continue to push the idea that Ironheart was being unfairly targeted because of who the lead character is, not what she actually delivers. But the numbers and the feedback all tell a very different story. Audience scores tank as critics boost the series. While the audience scores has dropped to 56%, the critic score have risen to 85. It's actually at 86 right now. Over at IMDb, the pattern is the same. The show holds a dismal 3.6 out of 10, making it one of the lowest rated Marvel projects ever. YouTube dislikes ratios tell the real story. Here we have the official trailer, 543,000 dislikes to 200,000 likes. That's the original. The show's second trailer only got 47,000 likes and 98,000 dislikes. That's because, quite frankly, no one cares about it. The only people that care about it are the haters. They keep putting out these shows that nobody asked for and nobody wanted, and then they're like, why aren't you watching it? The fact of the matter is you put out feminist garbage, strong independent women who don't need no man trash, and now you wonder why no one wants to tune in. It's not because people are racist, it's because the show sucks. And you picked an obscure Z-list character that had like a single run in the comic books to try and replace Iron Man. You would have been far better picking like young Iron Man and had a young white male playing Iron Man. You know what I mean? And done like they've already kind of have an origin Iron Man, but you could have done something. Critical coverage from independent media. Many have pointed out the show's treatment of Tony Stark's legacy as problematic, suggesting the series tries to promote Riri at the expense of tearing down a beloved legacy character. That's a common issue in modern Marvel projects. This isn't about race. It's not about gender. It's about execution, and audiences are responding to what's actually on the screen, but they keep spinning it. An alternative score you can trust. Here you have. For those looking for an honest assessment of how Ironheart is actually landing, you may want to turn away from Rotten Tomatoes altogether. On the audience-powered review platform Criticless, Ironheart currently holds an 11% score, a brutally low number that aligns much more closely with what's being said on YouTube and in fan discussions. This is a show, Ironheart was flooded with negative reviews pre-release. Fans of the show have responded accordingly. They did? It's still at 55%. You mean a couple of the ship accounts that you have on Twitter? Here, a black woman-led show in the MCU where every comment section that mentions Ironheart is filled with the nastiest and most hateful things I've ever read is being review brigaded? Pretends to be shocked. What is this account? Let's dig deeper. Could it be a bot account that Disney pays to show for the show? The handle is Jay's Heart of Iron. Iron, I know, Heart of Iron, Ironheart. They're using Stan accounts that block everybody. These are paid accounts, in my opinion. You will not convince me otherwise. They've deployed these paid shill accounts. How about this one? Thinkeriri. So yet another fan account that has no followers, right? 500 followers. Some has 2.8 thousand likes and hides comments. These are Disney's paid X accounts. This, in my opinion, these likes are fake. They're botted. They're not real. The entire thing of we're going to go to Twitter and we're going to listen to Twitter for what we want to put together in our shows and everything's going to be great. This is what you get. I can't wait for the actresses rage twerking, calling us all racist for not liking their garbage show. Marvel, the sad thing is Marvel could continue. It could. If they stop worrying about nonsense, pushing diversity quotas and just focus on good shows, maybe they'd have a chance. But sadly, they won't. And this is the end of the Marvel era. Sometimes it's better to burn out than to fade away. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you leave a like on it. If you haven't yet, subscribe or follow down below. We'll talk to you again real soon.